Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Pastor Joshua. Let me tell you something. It has been a long day today. We've talked about men, what is happening when you're with a mindset that is destructive. That was the first episode. Number two, what about this attachment style? And all these things flow together. But what I would like to talk about today is this interpersonal contract. What is that? Ladies and gentlemen, when you go and you buy a vehicle, you sign a contract. And you never want to sign a contract with a horrible interest rate. You don't want to get taken by the finance manager. Come this way. I have such a good deal for you. And he sells you a lemon. That's not what we're looking to get. We want the bang for our buck. We want the nicest car. We want the extended warranty. We want all the upgrades. And mind you, I'm not necessarily looking at a woman that way or a man, but I do want to tell you we have to be aware of an interpersonal contract. Well, what does that mean, Pastor Joshua? What is an interpersonal contract? Many of you might know, many of you don't. The problem is there's so many individuals that are caught in a rut. They're not paying attention to what this actually is. So let's discuss what an interpersonal contract actually is. And ladies and gentlemen, this is how we have to look at an interpersonal contract because there's a lot going on in society. There's just a lot happening right now. Um, Basically, when you meet that significant other, you have a set of expectations. And these set of expectations, you want to communicate those expectations. Let me give you an example. You can have a couple and you meet, you're attractive, hummingbirds are in the air, stars are aligning, and before you know it, you're in bed with each other and you're in trouble. Now, remember, Pastor Joshua wants you to get married before anything, but life happens, and this is not where a lot of people end up, even in the church. So, we're dealing with real life scenarios right here, right now, from dating to marriage to everything else. Not everybody's sleeping together. I don't want to get into that theological situation right now, but I want to talk about the reality and the gravity of the situation. So, if a person gets married or meets another individual and that person doesn't want to cook, but they don't discuss that in detail that they don't want to cook, and the husband finds out later that, well, my wife or my girlfriend really doesn't like to make food. And so he's stuck cooking all the time and he's upset. Or if the woman says, I want children, I really want to have more kids, and the guy kind of bends the truth where he flat out lies, or he says, I don't want any kids. And the woman desiring to have the man because he's handsome, he's considered a life partner, she wants to marry him, she sees a soulmate, tries to twist his arm down the future, and he does not want to. So whether he clarified it or didn't, these expectations that are supposed to bring people together are tearing people apart. And so the interpersonal contract is a situation we get ourselves into because we do not voice our expectations. And when that happens, things can happen. Number one, you can have an impasse. And so you're not communicating effectively in that situation. And number two, a person can stonewall. And that's the worst probability of the situation that could come out of this because the stonewalling will have an ultimatum. Hey, you do this or else, or I leave. And that's not where this is supposed to go. So the interpersonal contract is a big deal, our level of expectations. So, men, if you're dealing with a situation and you feel like it's not moving forward, how much conversation have you had for the interpersonal contract? Women, how many expectations have you had? So, what I like to suggest to individuals is constantly, not too often, but periodically, as we get older, our personalities change. So we want to redefine those expectations and not for the purpose of burden, but for the purpose of growth, not regression. For example, um, something important in the very, very beginning of the relationship might not be as important further on in the relationship. Something that was not as important tends to get more important, whether it's personal time, quality time. So think about a relationship, and we're always on a continuum, that straight line. And this continuum will constantly change as time progresses forward. And how do you meet those expectations? Well, simple. You have to sit down, do the hard work, communicate, and figure out what you're willing to agree on, what you're willing to disagree on, and what you're willing to compromise on. And those are the elements of the interpersonal contract. I mean, referencing the car in the beginning, you can go get the Chevy Aveo, and hey, I love the Chevy Aveo. Listen, 1,000 miles on one tank, $15 to fill up, sign me up. But somebody might want the Silverado that sucks down all the gas, $75,000, and the vehicle's absolutely 100% unaffordable. So you have to manage your interpersonal contract, and you need to be careful on the upgrades. Okay, I'm just saying, you have to be realistic about the expectations you have on your partner. Men, you can get yourself in trouble when you have expectations that defy reality. But at the same time, I know men right now that have partners that really the partners don't do a whole lot. They don't really clean, they don't cook, they don't have hot meals, they don't really tell the men anything kind throughout their day. Some of them don't work. And this is an anti woman show, but I'm just stressing the situation that sometimes people give you a false contract, a bill of goods, a lemon car. It's no good. And they pass it off as a polished Rolls Royce. Later on, you find out the starter's gone, the mortar mounts are no good, the transmission is falling out, and the tread depth on the tires just didn't read how they were supposed to. And there hasn't been no change in 10 years. I'll let you envision that. But what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is if you find yourself in that situation, you're going to have to assess your situation, redress your grievances, and meet with the minds in the middle of the interpersonal contract. But you need to take the whole panorama and scope of things: life commands, family structure, the health of the family being raised, transgenerational trauma. You need to know if there's any mental illness too between the partners. And some people fall in love and they have to deal with that situation later on, which is a very serious issue. So, what am I trying to say here to all of you out here? You need to read the fine print. That's all I want to say, ladies and gentlemen. Till next time, this is Pastor Joshua.